Welcome back to PowerDirector Made Simple. In today's video, we are going to take a close look at Cyberlink's AI speech-to-text tool. I want all you DaVinci people to pay close attention to how simple and easy the creation of subtitles can be using PowerDirector. The term speech-to-text can be a little bit misleading. If I were to change it to audio track to subtitles, then you'd know exactly what it is all about. The other thing to realize is that this feature will add subtitles, also known as closed captions, that can be a permanent part of the video display. There will be no on-off switch that a viewer can choose. However, there is another way that I'll show you later as to how you can make these subtitles available only when the viewer enables the closed captioning choice. And that option is also done from within the speech-to-text tool. So let's put this feature to work. This AI feature was first introduced back in 2022 and was totally free to use at that time. Through several version changes and as they began to add additional languages, Cyberlink changed this feature to be one of the credits required features, meaning it will cost you some credits to use it. Now I'm going to start with the launcher program, which will show a sample of how it's done without costing any credits. It's good to play around with this method until you fully understand the feature. I'll click on the icon to start PowerDirector and the launcher program appears. In the second and third line are the icons to start a sample of each feature of the program. I'll click on the speech-to-text icon, which will start up by giving me two different choices: to use one of my own videos or to use a sample video. I'll click on the free method to use the sample video. The program starts up and then quite quickly imports the sample MP4 file, places it on the timeline, and then runs the speech-to-text feature, which creates a subtitle track on the timeline. And it also opens up a subtitle window with all the text shown with time indicators. Wow, that's a lot, but I sure wish Cyberlink would present this all in slow motion with some text explanations of what is happening instead of so quickly jumping to the end result. But at least it leaves everything still visible on the screen. Now let's take a look at what has happened. We'll first zoom in on the timeline to viewing the whole clip and look at the new subtitle track with all the words. I'll hit play and watch the playhead move along as the words above are being spoken.
Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to PowerDirector.
You may have noticed that the words are not at the same position on the subtitle track where they are being spoken on the audio track. That's the way it is supposed to be. If you look at the large subtitle window with all the spoken text, you should also notice the timing marks that appear on the left. These are instructions as to when they will appear on the video and for how long they will appear. You should also note that the times are not 100% continuous. Look closely and you'll see a gap of 5 frames between number 1 and number 2, and another gap of 5 frames between number 2 and number 3. These gaps are created by pauses in the speech. This sample video from Cyberlink generated a subtitle text file that has every word correct. In the real world, a video and audio file will contain background noise, slurred speech, and sometimes people just mispronouncing words. The AI tries its best to represent exactly what it heard, but when you go to examine your own text closely, you'll find frequent errors. For example, let's just pretend that the woman's name is really Anna, but the AI heard it as Hannah. So let's make a correction to the subtitle by clicking anywhere in that number 2 block, which will select the text and turn the background white. Alternatively, you can also double-click on that text block that appears on the subtitle track of the timeline to select that area of the subtitle window. There will be a cursor blinking at the beginning, so place the cursor at the beginning of the word Hannah, and then hit the delete key 6 times to remove the incorrect name. Now I want to type in the name Anna, A-N-N-A. You can also put punctuation anywhere in the text if you want to make it grammatically correct. But remember, all of this is just for display on the screen. Any changes to this text does not change the actual audio track. At the top of the subtitle window are a few icons representing tools that can change the appearance or location of the subtitles on the screen. But the most important are the last two, the four-sided arrow and the large T. I'll click on the four-sided arrow, which determines where you want the subtitle to appear on the screen. By default, it appears at the bottom and is centered. Now I'll use the arrow to move it up to the top. When I click on the arrow, a positioning window opens. As I slide the Y position indicator slowly all the way to the left, watch what happens in the preview window. Notice that I am working on only one of the text blocks of the subtitle line, so if you want them all at the top, I need to click on the Apply to All button. Now when I move the playhead all over the video, watch as all of the text is displayed only at the top. Next, I'll click on the T, which opens up the character window. Now you'd think the T would mean text, but in the Cyberlink world, I guess the T stands for character. From this window, I get to choose the font along with several attributes such as color, size, shadow, border, and some other parameters. There is also a Apply to All box. Now let's start with the font itself. I'm going to change it to Abril Fatface, one of my favorites. I'll change the font size to 24. I'll next click on the text color box to bring up a color picker. I'm going to change it from white to red, shown in the basic colors. Note also the opportunity to create or add a custom color, or choose a color from your brand kit if you've created those colors back in the main editing window. Now, after I've picked red, I'll click on OK to close the color picker. The shadow is difficult to see, especially on smaller text, but you might be able to see it in the preview window. I'll just leave it enabled as a black color. The border color certainly makes the text stand out in the preview window as I enable it or turn it off. I'll keep it enabled with a black color. I'll click on Apply to All, which will also close the character window. I'm going to replay the video and watch it in the preview window. Now at this point, I have two choices. Either to export the video with the subtitle track to create a new video that will have a permanent embedded subtitle, or use the subtitle text to create a subrip subtitle. That's a file which sounds complicated, but that's why people just call it an SRT file. For now, I'm going to export this video to see how it will look. I'll click on the blue export button and then check my file name and location. And then I'm going to click on export at the bottom. When it's done, I'm going to return to the main window, where now I'm going to select New Project, which will clear off the timeline. I'll then import a media folder and select My Project folder. In that folder is the newly created video, which I'll click to select and watch it play.
Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to PowerDirector.
The subtitles that I just modified. Now remember, even if you play the video in any other video player or upload this file to any social media site such as YouTube, the subtitles will always show in this video based on the method that I just used. Well, whew, that's a lot to take in for now, but at least you know what it is, what it does, and how you can control the appearance. Now that's a good understanding of the basics of how this feature works. I'm not really a fan of creating any video with permanent subtitles. So in the next video, we're going to take this one step further, and you will learn about SRT files and how this same speech-to-text feature will allow you to create such a file in which the viewer will have a choice to see closed captioning or not. So stay tuned for that on the next part 2. Once again, thanks for watching, and make sure to leave a comment and hit that subscribe button.